The platform X has gone through 2 turbulent years since Elon Musk bought what was called Twitter back in 2022. Since then, users and advertisers have left in droves after Musk relaxed the control of content. Musk's support for Donald Trump has provoked another exodus of users. The British newspaper The Guardian quit on Thursday. And the U.S. novelist Stephen King, he has joined them. He tweeted, "I'm leaving Twitter. Tried to stay, but the atmosphere was just or become too toxic." And he said to his 7 million X followers, "Follow me on Threads if you like." All right, for more now, I want to bring in Zeve Sanderson. He's the executive director of New York University Center for Social Media and Politics. Zeve, it's good to have you with us. So we've got Stephen King. He's joined the exodus, just like the British newspaper The Guardian. But there's nothing new about the concerns over what X has become since Musk took over. So why are they leaving so late?
Yeah, it's a good question. So obviously this isn't a trend that's just starting now. That being said, I sort of want to note that there's not much precedence for an owner of a major social media platform to be as partisan as Musk. And to sort of, be as active in the platform and content moderation as Musk has been. Likely what we're probably seeing is an impact from the election and Musk's very active role in trying to shape the information environment around the election in order to nominate Donald Trump. Now, what effect this will exactly have on either X or other platforms is yet to be seen. But my guess is that, it's largely driven by Musk's sort of attempt to support Trump during the election.
And for those people, unlike Stephen King, who choose to remain on the platform, the terms of use, they changed today, directing all legal challenges to a conservative-leaning court in Texas. Now, that's away from where X is based near Austin. What do you think that's going to mean?
Practically, it's unclear what it's going to mean. Clearly, this is just trying to move X sort of away from being held accountable for its actions here towards, a legal jurisdiction or with specifically a judge that is going to be, I think, a little bit more open to some of Musk's sort of culture war politics. But my background is more in political science and studying the information environment. And I've made the mistake exactly once of commenting too directly on legal dynamics. So I'll sort of end there, but yeah.
Let me ask you for your take on this then. Musk is already suing the watchdog Media Matters in this new court for X because it alleged that advertisements appeared next to pro-Nazi sites. Have you ever seen anything like this on a social media platform?
No, certainly not a major social media platform. And there's an irony here that when Musk bought X, or at that point Twitter, that in part, his rhetoric around why he wanted to buy the platform was to make it more transparent. And an important part of transparency broadly is research on the platform that holds the platform accountable for its actions. So, I'm not the first, certainly, to make this point, but it is disappointing to see sort of further litigation in this regard. Another important terms of service change that occurred recently was that he's, made it increasingly difficult for academic researchers like us to be able to access platform data either directly from the platform or by collecting it via sort of automated means. So I think we're just seeing sort of continued push into less transparency, not more transparency.
I got to ask you another question about litigation. Musk is suing companies such as Unilever, Mars, Orsted, and there are others for violating antitrust laws and for keeping billions of dollars of advertising money away from him. He says that they should spend with him. Now he has the ear of President-elect Donald Trump. Should those companies, should they be worried?
So I think that they could, when it comes again to litigation itself, it seems pretty well established that companies have First Amendment protections, and where they spend advertising dollars falls under corporate speech. So I would be very surprised if this actually went very far in the courts. I think what we're going to see here is just another 4 years of sort of direct engagement with culture war issues, and with trying to hold institutions sort of from the right accountable for speech that contradicts their perspective. So, again, when it comes to direct impact of litigation, I'd be relatively surprised if there was an effect. But I think that this is just going to be part of what, the next 4 years of a second Trump administration looks like.
Yeah, we started with Stephen King. Let me wrap this up with Stephen King. He's asked his followers to migrate to Threads with him. Blue Sky is currently the most downloaded app on the App Store in the United States. Number 2 right now is Threads. I mean, there once was a migration to Mastodon that fizzled out. Do you see any of these emerging as the dominant Twitter X replacement?
Yeah. So, for studying social media platforms, we refer to this as network effects, where the value of a platform is essentially because everyone else is there, and the more people are there, the more valuable it becomes. It's tough to prognosticate. As you said, this has happened before. I think what we're likely to see is not a single X or Twitter replacement. We're not going to see a single sort of short form text based platform that replaces what Twitter was a few years ago. But I think what we're likely to see is the social media environment continue to look more like the traditional media environment, where it's heavily fractured and you see a number of different platforms, end up becoming relatively robust and permanent. But I think it's probably unlikely, especially given how many right-leaning accounts are going to remain on X, for there to be a wholesale replacement of what Twitter used to be.
Yeah, the fracturing may continue. Zeve Sanderson, Executive Director of New York University Center for Social Media and Politics. Zeve, good talking with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much.